The story of Jesus begins with his birth in Bethlehem, where he was born to Mary and Joseph. According to the Gospels, Mary was a virgin when she conceived Jesus, and she gave birth to him in a stable because there was no room at the inn. Shortly after his birth, the family was visited by shepherds who had been told of his arrival by angels. As Jesus grew older, he began to travel throughout the region, preaching and teaching about the kingdom of God. He also performed many miracles, demonstrating his power and compassion for those in need. Jesus had the ability to heal the sick and infirm. He cured a man with leprosy by touching him, healed a paralyzed man who was lowered through the roof of a house, and gave sight to a man who had been blind from birth. On several occasions, Jesus fed large crowds of people with only a small amount of food. One of the most famous examples is the feeding of the 5,000, where he multiplied 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish to feed a large crowd of people. During a storm on the Sea of Galilee, Jesus calmed the waves and wind with a single command, saving his disciples from certain death. Jesus also had the power to raise the dead. He brought back to life the daughter of Jairus, a synagogue leader, and Lazarus, a man who had been dead for 4 days. Jesus' miracles were often done out of love and compassion for others, and they drew large crowds of people who were amazed by his power. However, they also drew the attention of the religious leaders of his time, who were suspicious of his teachings and actions. Jesus' teachings were also controversial, and he often clashed with the religious leaders of his time. They accused him of blasphemy and sought to have him arrested and executed. In the end, Jesus was betrayed by one of his own disciples, Judas Iscariot, and he was arrested by the Roman authorities. Jesus was then taken to Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor of Judea, who sentenced him to be crucified. Crucifixion was a brutal and agonizing form of execution in which the victim was nailed to a wooden cross and left to die of asphyxiation. Jesus hung on the cross for several hours before he finally died. On the 3rd day after his death, several women went to the tomb to anoint Jesus' body with spices. However, they found the tomb empty and were visited by angels who told them that Jesus had risen from the dead. Jesus then appeared to his disciples, showing them the wounds on his hands and feet, and proving that he had indeed risen from the dead. Many people began to realize that Jesus was actually a Son of God. Jesus' death and resurrection have become the cornerstone of the Christian faith. And his sacrifice is seen as a symbol of God's love and forgiveness for all of humanity. Like and subscribe.